Ireland, how they managed to rally the troops, rally the horses, it just shows you the fact that you're thinking Josh van der Fleer goes to hooker at the line-outs throwing the ball in. Cian Healy, who's been out for ages with a bad neck, comes into the front row. You're thinking, here we go, we are on here.
Just rewind to Josh van der Fleer's throw in that you mentioned then, Jim. And you're a line-out forward. You've been giving it at the front, giving it the big fingers. Get it in, get it. How good did he look throwing it in? Like, that's all planned.
Unreal.
That's not by chance, is it? That is, I reckon they've gone to the degree of, if this happens, we go both hookers down. Let's practice it. Let's nail it. And he looked so comfy doing it, didn't he?
So Cian Healy's at the side of the pitch. I'm watching him warm up, and he's practicing his throw, and he's on his knees throwing the ball in. And so I'm thinking, right, well, they're thinking Dan Sheehan's come off, Ronan Kelleher, the next person to step up as hooker, not just in the scrum, but with the line-out throws, will be Cian Healy. But no, he comes on, and then, like we just said, Josh van der Fleer comes on. It was interesting. Johnny Sexton said after the game, he was like, he's one of them lads, like, you know, that you all hate. He's just good at everything.
Yeah.
Like, he started playing golf 2 years ago, and he plays off single digits or whatever. I don't even know what that means. But he plays off single digits now, and he's one of them just absolute stars. But you're right. The line-out, you're thinking, right, we're going to get stuck into them. Even though we lost Richie Gray early, he popped his rib. But still, you've got Jamie Ritchie in there, you've got Johnny Gray, you've got Sam Skinner. And I genuinely, how do I feel about it? I feel like it's an opportunity missed. And I feel like I'm disappointed because we didn't fire a shot in that second half. And that is credit to Ireland, the way that they play. They're so stuffy, they're so physical. But with all them changes, the fact that they were laughing at half-time, they were like, right, what's going down here? Maybe that pressure of thinking, well, if we lose this, you could see why we could lose it. But that's why there's a gulf between 1 and 2. And 1 especially, this Ireland team. They're unplayable. I've said that many times. Players are playing in different positions. Players coming on, third-string players playing out of position. Bundy Aki coming off, they're coming back on. Yeah, I mean, Matt Hansen as well. I hate that bloke. I love him. He texts me with about 20 minutes, straight after the game, 20 minutes, bang, he's texted me. Having come off the pitch and got MOM, he's texted me. How good was he? I'm happy. The fact that I'm getting his tattoo of his name, him and James Lowe. My goodness me. We talk about James Lowe, you talk about Hugo Keenan. How good was Mac Hansen, return of the Mac?
Amazing. And
their players are just sensational.
My only disappointment with the game at the weekend was that when you had that bet with Mac Hansen around if Ireland beat Scotland, you get the Big Mac tattoo, we should have put another layer on it and gone, Mac, if you get man of the match, what's the next level that Jim can go? A tattoo on his face, or do you know what I mean? Just something where...
Bigger.
Yeah, something bigger. And that, I thought, as soon as he got man of the match, I was like, oh, why didn't we think of that as well and add that into the mix? But yeah, what a performance. Yeah. He was unbelievable. And you could have picked out a few players for man of the match. Josh van der Fleer obviously hitting one for everything that he did. But yeah, Mac Hansen was unbelievable. And Ireland, you came on the pod, you are welcome. What a bloke.
And that's the thing with these players, right? There's been a change of guard, hasn't there? We've mentioned Ange Kupawatu, Mac Hansen. These lads are, let's say, they're tiny. And the influence that Mac Hansen had on that game, not just with scoring tries and offloads, the breakdown, he was phenomenal. Yeah. And again, Ireland fully deserved to win. They're the best team. I knew it was going to be tough. I backed them all the way to the point where I said I'd get a tattoo of Big Mac if Scotland won. But for me, I'm a bit disappointed, but I'm not hugely disappointed because the way that Ireland did it is one of them where it's just like, well, there you go. That's how good they are.
I know you mentioned it before, but Ireland have got a lot of injuries. Does this open the door a little bit for England?
No. Sorry. Well, you look at their standout injuries. So Gary Ringrose, not a chance in the world he'll be playing this weekend. You got Robbie Henshaw that will start probably, and obviously you got Stuart McCluskey. He'll come on the bench, I presume, and it'll be Aki and Henshaw in the centres to start. Yeah, sad for Ringrose, but I think that's what will happen. Second row, Henderson goes off. Ryan Baird. Oh my God! Apart from his butcher try at the end, how good was he?
Rapid,
ridiculously
absolute
good,
rapid athlete.
So if he comes in, the big one's hooker, and my spy up in Scotland, James Hamilton, has declared that Rob Herring looked fine during the.
Well, he looked fine. He was there. He was at the after function, and he was smiling. So
yeah, but also they've called up Tom Stewart from Ulster as hooker coverage. Who'll probably sit on the bench, but Rob Herring's got 30 odd caps, I think, for Ireland if he starts. If Sheehan and Kelleher don't make it. So any other injuries? I think they looked. Doris. Conan came on and played pretty well, didn't he?
Look at the back row. You've got Coombs at Munster carving up as well.
Yeah. So it will have a dent because you're talking about world-class players, first-choice world-class players in Ireland's team that are the best team in the world. But what they certainly have worked on over the last couple of years is the depth and the quality below that first-choice team. And, you're bringing in the sort of players that I mentioned, there isn't that much difference. So can I see it being a factor? Not really, no. Just keep it under 50, lads.
The only one thing, like you've just said, is the injuries, and which is absolutely crazy, and I'll say it again, a 6-day turnaround with a travel day. I know it's only Edinburgh to Dublin, but a 6-day turnaround for a Grand Slam deciding match, a championship match, mental. And that can't continue to happen. I just don't think it's fair for any team to have to go and do that. And I know the game was on a later afternoon, so we're talking a matter of hours, but I just, in terms of preparation, it's crazy. But the one thing is the injuries. So they obviously lost both hookers, Dan Sheehan, Ronan Kelleher.
Yep.
They lost Ian Henderson to what looked like a broken wrist. Caelan Doris, he ain't going to come off unless he's properly injured. The horrible one and the big one
Ringrose.
was Gary Ringrose. Like, that injury was so bad. I just hope he's all right. I know he spent the night in Edinburgh Hospital, but he's a massive player from a playing point of view. Obviously, the welfare is more important, but from a player point of view, and we saw that against Italy, like, he's big. So you're thinking, right, well, no, I'm not trying to convince anyone. I'm not trying to convince myself.
I can't even convince anyone.
I know. But if you need to bring Manu back, are the whispers of a George Ford, but that means, well, where does Faz or where does Marcus go?
No, what's George Ford done to deserve playing for England in the here and now?
Well, Steve said he's world class, so
but he's off the back of a Achilles injury. He's played 2.5 games and he's not set the world alight. They got spanked by London Irish at the weekend.
But they need something, don't they? Not that they need to keep chopping and changing, but
this is the thing. So pre-match, doing the analysis, 7 of that 8 pack that got monstered by France have started every Six Nations game. So Don Brandt, non-existent in the game, has been poor in the Six Nations. I looked at the squad today, thinking, you want some ballast, bring Billy back. Billy ain't there. And I'm hearing the reasons around Billy not being involved in the Steve Borthwick squad because they had a fallout.
Really?
Yep. Had a fallout, and Steve won't pick him for that reason.
So it's personal.
Yeah, from what I hear and understand, it's personal. Steve won't pick Billy Vanapola because of what's happened previously between them. Where and when that was, that's not for me to divulge. But
how crazy is it that we were talking about how much back row choice there was only a few weeks ago, and now you're thinking, well, who's going to play?
Well, here's one in the squad who has probably made more meters, break more tackles, meters after contact, everything that you need. Ben Earl, and he's not a massive bloke, but in terms of performance of what he's done in the Premiership this year, I don't know the stats, haven't got them offhand, but I'd be amazed if he's not in the most meters made bracket up there somewhere, most tackle busts, most meters after contact as a player in the Premiership. And he can't get a look in under Steve. I know he played against Italy and put a kick in because that's probably what they told him to do. But you could put Ben Earl in there to go toe to toe and try and win some collisions. But yeah, I can't see England winning.
Who are you starting at 10?
Well, I'm bringing Manu back. So in the centres, I'll probably go. I think you've got to back Marcus Smith again, which probably means you've got a choice then to make between Owen at 12, which I don't agree with, per long term, and then Manu at 13.
That's what he'll do.
I think that's what he'll do. Yeah, you've got to bring Manu back and just hope for the best. Say, yeah, Manu.
Pod.
Rugby pod.